How are you?
Super well. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. First, I want to ask you, what made you say yes?
To be honest, when you sent me a message, I didn't immediately reply because it was a very busy period for me.
Right.
And then after a week, I went into my inbox and then I just went to your profile and then I saw what you were doing. It's just so inspiring. Let me tell you, kudos to
Thank you.
what you're doing.
Thank
I
you.
think you're doing really great. And it's just connecting with people is one of the biggest challenges I've faced. Maybe it can be nervousness or it can
Right.
be just, the approach. How do you actually approach people? Or
Right.
maybe being an introvert can be a factor as well, right? But you doing that, and that was just so inspiring. And I just wanted to talk to you, even if nothing. I just wanted to have a chat with you and just get to know you more. And it's all about that, right? and
Right.
and your entire theme and concept and the premise is a building community, so I think it's all about that.
Thank you for those amazing words. I really appreciate it. I mean, those
Yeah,
compliments matter a lot. Like I said, I get super nervous
yeah,
before doing this, and it's kind of funny, like whenever you're talking to the new person, you really don't know how it goes. It could go either way. But
yeah.
I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great time today. And I wanted
Yeah,
to ask
thank you.
you.
I hope we both have a great time. Okay, one
Yes.
thing. I think
Yes.
you're frozen. Your
Oh,
video is
still?
frozen, so
Oh, you look
I
perfect.
don't
Oh,
know.
should I call you again?
I think we'll have to do that.
I'll just call you again.
Yeah.
Yes. I wanted to ask,
Yeah.
how did you navigate your times during the pandemic? I hope everyone in your family is okay.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for asking. We're all right now. Last year, around this time during Navratri, during September time, we were all affected. It's a very long story. I mean,
Right.
the entire family was affected. We're a family of seven, and it was a tough time, those 2 months. But we're all good now. Everyone's well and fine, and we're all doing great. I hope everyone's doing great at your end as well.
Yes, thankfully everyone's doing great. But did you experience a positive experience during the pandemic? Did something interesting happen with you?
I don't know if I could call it interesting. Okay, so there were phases, right? So if I can call the first lockdown was surprisingly good for me. It was a good break. It was a good change.
Right.
And me being an introvert, I prefer, staying at home or being
Yes.
at home. And
Yeah.
that was a good experience. I had so many things which I'd imagine, okay, if I was at home, I could do this. And I did that, maybe just catching up on some shows or watching some TV or, okay, not watching TV, but probably just it's going to be some Netflix or something like that.
Right.
Or getting back with my painting because I had been away from that for quite some time. I had lost touch with that.
Yeah.
So I got back to that. And then spending time with family, of course. And
Yes.
then there was this whole phase of the entire family sitting and watching Ramayana and Mahabharat. And I
Yeah.
think you know that. So
Yeah.
there was that phase. And so that was a really good period. So while there were a lot of people who were annoyed by the fact that they could not get out, I was surprisingly really having fun, being inside.
Yeah.
And the first lockdown did not affect me. And then came the consequent, other
Right.
lockdowns. And then it started getting a little tough, once when your work starts getting affected, when you think that, okay, so our nature of work is very work office oriented. We need to be on site and get the work done, and that wasn't happening. So we face issues on that front as well. But yeah, all in all, it's been okay. Now I think I'm trying to get even mentally used to the fact that we are going to get too many, lockdowns, or it's just going to
Yeah.
be an on and off situation.
Right.
So just trying to adapt to this.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I know, like,
Yeah.
since a lot of people, these were unprecedented times and everyone had to spend a lot of time with themselves. So many people discovered and redefined the definition of what success looks like and what happiness looks like. And how you were able to spend more time on your painting and stuff made me really happy.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, COVID affected the family, but I'm happy that everyone's okay now.
I'm a person like I can go into extreme mode, when I'm working, I can really go into that mode where I, come, maybe it's going to be I leave early in the morning and I'm coming home in the evening and I
Right.
hardly get to spend time at home. So somewhere I try to strike that balance during this time. That helped. That was a positive thing. Catching up with a lot of friends. That doesn't happen when I'm, going to office and working.
Yes.
So that was another good point as well.
Awesome. And I know that your bio says you are an entrepreneur, and I read that
Yeah.
you're the co-founder and director for this company called Zero Point Robotics. So how did you
Yeah.
get started on that journey?
So I did my bachelor's in engineering. I graduated in 2016, and then I immediately went on to do my master's in Australia for 2 years. And then there was this Christmas break when my sister and I, we both went to Australia together for our masters. And then we came back here for a break. And during that break, that's when my dad is an entrepreneur as well. He's into business, and we got into talking. And he mentioned robotics and automation and how he's curious and interested about this field. And me being from a technical background, I had a chat with him, and we were kind of brainstorming on what can actually happen. And then he mentioned that, okay, we should probably start something on this, maybe a business, or uh, at least start as a project. Let's start with a project, and then let's see if it can scale it to a business. And that's when, it was a very sudden decision. We were like, okay, I'm going to jump into this. I don't have much idea about what I'm going to do, but let me jump into this. Partner up with a family friend of mine, and he's a younger to me, so we both just partnered up. And yeah, we gathered a couple of interns from my dad's company, and we started working on this. It took a good year for us to understand what exactly is happening in the industry, and how exactly things work, because I had zero idea. I mean, although my dad is a businessman, I know very little. I was very on the surface level involved in his day-to-day activities or what he's doing. So it was a major learning experience for me, just like that. You can say it was a MBA degree for me, a separate MBA
Right.
degree. And yeah, man, it's been a major learning experience. Now we're at a stage where I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. I think it's so important to know what you don't know,
Right.
and realize when to actually stop and bring in another expert, and just to move things forward. So we are kind of doing that. And yeah, that's about my robotics company. So industrial automation is something I try to explore. We are still exploring into this. We are seeing, last year, and no, not last year, the year before that, in 2019, I visited the robotics exhibition in Chicago, and in Japan as well. Just go to the trade show, have a look at what's happening in the industry and the competitors and all that. So that was a good exposure as well.
Yeah.
Again, all a part of the learning experience. Yeah, so you can say it's been a major chunk of learning.
Yes.
And again, wearing a lot of hats of accountant, or a marketing person, or a finance person, or a project manager. That and all has been happening as well. So I've been trying to coach myself on those areas as well. That's the journey, very up and down. Then COVID happened. COVID sure did mess things a little, disturb it a little, because as I said, robotics, our nature of work, we had to literally
Physically
be
be
on
there.
site
Yeah.
with our robot and work on that, right? So that did not happen for a good period of 3-4 months, and a lot of our work got stalled. And then sourcing components from outside, most of our components were sourced from China or from USA, which again stopped. So a lot of delays happen in that as well. But yeah, I think we're getting back on track. Things are getting better, and hopefully we have something interesting coming up soon.
Awesome. I think the nature of your
Yeah.
business is mostly B2B.
Yes, it's B2B
So have you
currently.
faced like challenges bringing like new technology to India, like Indian companies, like helping them, like automation helps optimize your processes, right? So did you
Yes,
have
yes.
like, like people having preconceived notions, not that India is backwards or anything, we're super like forward,
Yeah, yeah.
but did you ever face like a lot of friction, a lot of challenges with getting these new technologies to companies?
Yes. I think the first thing what you need to break into the Indian market is to break the stereotype of automation taking away the jobs, because uh, it's like history repeating. An innovation came, maybe 50 years ago. Take it, maybe a car. Car was an innovation. A four-wheeled vehicle was an innovation, which took over the jobs of the bullock cart
Right.
carriers, the people who pulled them.
Yes.
So it's always, I always tell this, even I'm trying to prepare a good pitch even to the people, because Indian people do function on emotions, right? Most of them. And for them, like how they associate their and how have the relationship with the workers is also different compared to what you have in the outside
West.
countries.
Yeah.
So we need to deal with that differently, especially in a B2B segment.
Right.
So when you're talking to big businesses who deal with a really, large segment of workers, we need to talk to them about, how a majority of the workers who might be replaced, a machine might replace them, but they are going to get upskilled. They are always going to be
Right.
upskilled to probably the quality section, where they are going to be more focused towards the quality of the product,
Right.
and which is eventually going to help the company itself
Yeah.
and the person as well, because you cannot just keep doing a repetitive task. Even as a human being, you need to at some point enhance your skills to some
Absolutely.
point where it's you trying to make your life easy. Why do some tasks which even a machine can do, and wear out yourself towards the end of the day? So that's what we're trying to do, trying to replace the mundane and risky and repetitive tasks by introducing our machines in such areas, and upskill those workers. So as a community, we are trying to take up a responsibility as well, that obviously we are not trying to remove people out of their jobs. We are trying
Absolutely.
to create an ecosystem where everyone is so that's the whole concept of a product. So we are trying to make a product. It's called a cobot. So we no longer call it a robot. So cobot is a collaborative robot.
I
The
see.
whole concept of a collaborative robot is that it can
Like you work with
work
them.
alongside a
Right.
human being.
Yeah.
So that's how we approach people, and that's how we try to bring automation to the Indian market, because this is the major friction. This is the major this one we noticed here. Although we haven't yet gone into that phase where we are actively interacting with customers yet, but we are still in our prototype and proof of concept stage. But I'm still, I am in constant contact with people from the industry and talking to them, trying to get the requirements and understanding the pain points. And this does come up a lot, the mentality where why do I need to replace also cheap labor? Why do I need
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
buy a machine when I can just pay this much and get them to do the work,
Yeah.
just these people. So first you really need to change the mindset of a large group of people, and then that is when you can actually enter the market.
Yeah, props to you for doing that and for
Yeah.
bringing that innovation. I know that it's like it's a lot of friction with the people, to educate the
Yeah.
consumer. You're not just now selling your
Yeah,
product. You're
educate
trying
is the
to,
right word. Yeah,
you're trying to
correct.
completely different, like change their mindset. I know that takes a lot of effort. So props to you for doing that. Could you give us an example of any functionality that, like your cobot would do?
Let me just tell you about the product, in general, what a cobot does, right? Like, suppose you just take in e-commerce, or if you take a warehouse, you have a certain section where you do not want a person to lift 200 or 300 kg of load, be it even pull it via a trolley. It is
Right.
still human work. Any error can happen. Even a forklift is carrying, there can be accidents. There's a possibility of accidents, right? So we have a machine that autonomously carries that amount of load from one point to another. Everything is designed. It maps the area on its own. It looks for the obstacle on its own, so it knows what to do. Like if it has to stop when someone is coming in front of it, if it has to cross a ramp or whatever it has to do, and it reaches the destination. So this is how it functions throughout the day. Humans can walk along it, obviously, because it's safe. We have all the safety protocols being installed in it, and it has to follow those things. And it does its job. There's a lights off feature as well. Like, when the warehouse is shut at night, when the workers are not working, the robots can still work, which is the whole point of increasing the efficiency of production at the end of the day of the company. So that is just one, pick and place, pick up a good pallet of maybe 300 kg or 500 kg. So now there are robots which pick up to 2 or 3 ton of weight, and they go and drop it. So you're reducing a lot of human error. You're saving a lot of human lives because of definitely health is affected if any human is involved in transferring so much of load,
Yeah.
and yeah, you're avoiding accidents. So anything automating such risky jobs is a tick mark for us.
Right. And this is a really capital intensive business. So
It,
did you think of like raising money
yeah.
and go into that phase?
That's so true. Yeah. So currently we are bootstrapped. We have my father's company who is into electronics as well. We have them as a partner who kind of help us in electronics and other part of the
Right. Raw
project as
material and
well.
stuff. Yeah.
We are definitely looking for funding. We might be looking in some time once we have a proof of concept ready,
Yeah.
and we'll approach some people where we can show them what our a robot can do and what features it can offer.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how we were going to go about it.
Awesome. Do you like being an entrepreneur? Did you ever think that you'd want to be one?
Actually, no. Maybe back of my mind, I did know. So if I think about it now that, back when I was in college or when I was in school, I always, inclined towards taking leadership roles. So even in school, be it a class leader or if you take a class prefect, or even during my engineering time, there was this college fest which I held every year, right? So I always used to apply for the core team who organizes the fest. So I would love to be a part of that, trying to organize
Yeah.
things or trying to lead a team of people. In fact, I was the production and design head of my college fest in the last year. So
Cool.
while I was doing my final year project,
Yeah.
I was a part of that as well.
Right.
So now that I think of it, now that I'm at this stage, now
Yeah.
when I look back, I know that, okay, I was always inclined towards that. So maybe I was, fated to do this. But never did I think, because even when I went to Australia, when I was looking for my course, it was always, okay, I might want to get into a consulting kind of job,
Right.
maybe in the big four, tech consulting or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's how I went about it. I did apply for jobs. I went to interviews there. I did everything.
Yeah.
But that one trip back home, and when I spoke to my dad, that conversation probably changed everything. And I think that's what it takes, right? You need to make that one leap, and you need to just trust your gut and go ahead with it. And if you just need to see those 2-3 months
Intuition.
if you
Yeah.
can really do it, and if you can just kind of sail through those 2-3 months well, I think you can that you're made for this. Also, I know for a fact that I do realize now that I have a mind of my own, and it's better if I have people who I can delegate work to, or if I am at a leadership position, I think I can do that well. And I'm always curious about new stuff. So so there is a concept of serial founders, co-founders as well, right? So they want to have a founder business and then probably exit that and have a new business as well.
Right.
So they keep creating new startups. So you never know. I mean, that's the whole reason I started Pick and Muse, my art page as well, right? It was obviously sheer out of hobby. I started it because I really needed to have a different outlet of this one as well, right?
Yeah.
I had time. I asked my sister to be a part of it. We both contribute. She also likes to do the artsy stuff and all. So we decided, okay, let's start a page together. You give me some stuff, you send me some stuff sometimes, and we both can post art on this. And if I really can dedicate some good amount of time on this, and if it becomes something, I might make a business out of this, because now I kind of know the process, how it is, at least over here in India. You know what you need to go through, you know how you need to talk to people, or at least you know what mistakes you made. So hopefully you do not repeat that. So I think, yeah, I'm in that space where I think I'm confident that I like this, and I'm confident I can create something more like this, anything else if I'm interested in.
Right. Awesome. And I wanted to know, like you
Yeah.
said, you are super into art and stuff, and that's a huge part of your hobby. Where does
Yeah.
art fit in this picture? And it's really interesting that when I was researching about you, you're obviously from like a good tech background, and you might even know like the launching of NFTs and stuff. I know you follow Gary, so you also have the art side, but you
Yeah.
also have the tech side. So did you ever think of, maybe you in the future you would maybe see yourself in the NFT space, smart contracts, blockchain, and things like that?
Okay, so I do know about NFTs because a friend of mine told me about it. Although I haven't looked much into it, so yeah, I'm not too much sure about it. I think I might, right now in the art space, I'm so like art business space, I'm so uh, at an early stage. At right now, probably I just want to find my niche, like what kind of art I can really do well, or what can I do out of it. I'm just trying to figure that out,
Right.
trying to see what people like, from what I do. I'm just trying to test waters over here. Like I just keep posting what I feel. So for me, art is literally like therapy. I'm doing work and I did really need a break. If I take a coffee break, if I need a 10-15 minute break, I have organized my wardrobe in such a way that I have all my art supplies very close to me.
Nice.
So anytime I feel like I need a break, I just put my laptop aside. I quickly grab my art supplies and I just make something,
Yeah.
and that just goes to my page. So yeah, right now this is what I'm doing, and I'm just seeing what people like. Out of this, yes, maybe if it really, probably, hopefully, if it blows up, and I might think of that in the future. Actually, now that you've mentioned it, I think I'll just go look into it, NFTs and all that.
You
Yeah,
must. I
I
think
really
it
haven't looked
sounds
into
like
it much.
I feel it sounds like art makes you genuinely really happy and stuff, and it's really smart of you to
It,
start an Instagram page. I feel like a lot of people have amazing talent, but then they are kind of fearful to share it with the world. So you already overcame such a huge barrier to be able to do that, and that's how I actually found you, through your art page, which is really cool.
yeah, I
So
mean, yeah, I think
yeah.
that was really cool. I never thought that. Okay, that was really interesting that you approached me via my art page. That made me really happy for some reason. Yeah, and that was interesting because this is something I still haven't given my 100% to, but
Yeah.
this is, yeah, exactly. So most of my friends, when I told them that I'm starting this, most of the reaction was, oh, finally you did this.
Right.
So they know I've been doing art stuff since my
Yeah.
childhood. Since childhood, I've been into art. Since I
Yeah.
was a little kid, everywhere around my house you can find art pieces. I've put here and there, but never did I think of actually, bringing it out to the world. So if someone comes home, I probably show them my book, or if I'm talking to someone, my friend, and she mentions, okay, can you just show me this, and I click a picture and send.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, why not? I started an Instagram page. So there were two reasons. One, obviously, you can show it to the world. Second, it makes me accountable. Now that I have this, I know that I will make an effort
Efforts
to
to, yeah.
spend some time on this and actually
Right.
post on this. So it's
Yeah.
a good thing. It's a twofold.
I really hope you explore the NFT space. Now with we had like the
I will.
information
Yeah.
world,
Now that you mentioned,
we
I
have
will.
like a
Thanks.
digital world now, and the digital world is all about creators, and there are very few people who
Yeah.
can actually create. So it's something that was maybe looked down upon, like you being from India, you get it, like either you're doing school and you're doing
Yeah.
tech or you're doing med, otherwise you're hopeless. But now it's a different world. People are getting highly paid for video editing skills than like engineers
Oh
who
my
are
God,
so
yes.
many.
Oh,
So
I see the freelance websites and you see the gigs. They're so interesting.
yeah.
Everything, like you think the weirdest of things, from little illustrations to, I'm just going to write a poem for you. You just give
Yeah.
me some words and I write a song for you. If you want to gift a song to someone. So the
Yeah.
creative space is just mind blowing, and I'm so happy to see it. It just makes me happy looking at it. So it
Yeah.
might sound very weird, but sometimes I just go on these freelance platforms and I just look at what people are doing, or follow some Instagram pages on what people are doing in this creative space, and it's just very interesting. Yeah.
Awesome. And not to stay on that topic for too long, but anytime you want to get educated on NFTs, you go on Gary's
Yeah.
YouTube. It's all about it. You'll get like from the A to the Z, and he always talks like, Google is your mother. So you
Huh.
can always like go on and like
Yes.
be like, how do I make my own NFT? How do I transition from like traditional art to
Mm-hmm.
digital art? and things like that.
Yeah.
And this space is super like emerging. Everyone who is in the NFT space doesn't really know what they're doing. So everyone's, like
Mm-hmm.
beginning at the same place. So don't be afraid and don't feel
Oh.
like you don't know enough. Just like go ahead and you'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Yes.
Go deep into it, and might as well jump into this as well.
Yes.
Like what I've done with everything else. And yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And we have a lot in common, just by the way. Major, like, three things that my life depends on is Gary, BTS, and Korean dramas. And I could figure out you're
Yes.
like a fan of all of them. So I'm going to go one by one, and I want to ask you about Gary. How did you discover him, and how has he added value to you? Like, why do you like him?
Okay. So obviously, I think I'm not that into Gary as you. Like, I see that you really do follow him, and you go by what. I can call you as you really go by what he says. Got into Gary when my sister mentioned him. So my sister is into marketing,
Right.
and somehow okay. So when we were in Melbourne, Australia, he had come for a conference or a talk or something like
Right.
that, and she got a ticket from someone. I think maybe her friend, or probably she purchased it. I don't remember very well.
Right.
And she mentioned, okay, I'm going to the Gary Vee talk, and I'm like, okay, who is he? And I did not know.
Yeah.
And then I looked him up, and obviously when you look him up, you go to his videos, and
Yeah.
when you listen to him for the first time, he has that kind of impression,
Yeah.
the way he talks.
Right.
And yeah, that was a period when I was hooked, and I was watching a lot of his videos. And uh, yeah, I think that spontaneity with what the way he talks, and the way his ideas just flow out, and that attitude with which you need to approach life and people is what initially struck me, what initially I liked in him. And I follow him on Instagram the most. I mean, that's where I catch up on most of his content.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, everything is good about him. I just love listening to him. I love listening to people in general. And when he's talking, I try to always, grab some really good pearls of wisdom from him. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. I feel like you're at the right place. The reason I fell in love with Gary was the more you watch his, this is a judgment you would develop over a period of time, is when I watched him for all these years and hours actually, I discovered how he's like
Mm-hmm.
just such a first-rate human being, which is hard to come
Yeah.
across, he genuinely has the nicest intentions. Next, he's super
Yeah.
credible, he's not like some motivational speaker. He took his dad's
Yeah. Yeah.
business
Yeah.
from like, 3 to 60 million. He started his own company, Vayner Media, which is almost like a $200 million company
Yes.
today. How he is like just really, really right about the future. He has great foresight. So to be able to listen to him, it's just played out amazingly. And every advice that he's giving you, because his economics are not attached to you. It's not like if you're listening to him, he's getting money. He's getting his money from
Yeah.
big clients like Budweiser and Pepsi. So you know that
Yeah.
the intention is only for this busy millionaire businessman is to help you out, to help you grow,
Yeah.
to help you, like achieve your success. And that makes me really happy, that
True.
intention.
I think also the community, what he's created, maybe not consciously and indirectly, what he's created for you. Example, like how you. I think I'm assuming his inspiration behind your building community.
Yes, 100%.
Right. So there's one more person, Digital Pratik. I don't know if you've heard of him. I came across him at another networking event in Bangalore over here,
Right.
and he's a huge Gary Vee follower and fan as well. He calls himself as the Gary Vee of India, and yeah, probably if you don't know, you might check it out. And so yeah, you can see a reflection of him when he talks and everything.
Right.
So I know for a fact that people who really follow him, from the core of their heart, they can get really intense, and they know what they want to do, and they can really embed his values or whatever he um, tells, not preach, but whatever he tells and
Yeah.
explains. So yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yes, and next I want to ask you about BTS. So I want
Yeah.
to know, why do you love them? I know everyone has completely different reasons, but I want to know what made you fall in love with
Yes.
them.
Yeah, that's so true. Everyone has completely different reasons, and oh my God, they've garnered such a huge fan base.
Yeah.
So I did watch. So I got into BTS when my friend made me watch a video of them. Before that, I did watch a couple of their
Which was
videos,
what year?
but Sorry?
Which was what year?
I think this was 2018 when I first watched. So DNA was the first video I watched of
Right.
theirs, and then obviously because one of the most popular video, and I heard, and I'm always open to new music, new
Right.
any form of new entertainment. Okay, movie, music, anything. So I'm open to that. Any language, no language barrier at all. I have my
Yeah.
Tamil friends or Hindi, Gujarati friends. I watch all language movies,
Yeah.
and so this was. I'm like, okay, let me check it out, and I liked it, but I still wasn't that into it.
Right.
And but I really liked it. I did remember that, and then I flew to Atlanta to meet my friend who was studying there, and she introduced me to Blackpink and BTS,
Okay.
and so she's a fan. She really loves watching their videos, and she'd been a fan for a while. And that is when it actually hit me. Okay, they're really good, and it made me watch more of their stuff.
Yeah.
But then, so for me, how it is, I usually just don't. Okay, so I watch their content, but I always like reading the backstory, how they
Hmm.
became what they became.
Right.
And today, if I really like BTS, is for how they've um, got the position. So
Hmm.
I
Right.
purchased their Harvard Business Law case study.
Oh yeah.
So Harvard has a case study on BTS, and
Right.
I've,
I'm aware.
yes, and so it's very interesting. That
Hmm.
is to break a huge barrier in a country where this was such a small thing. It wasn't global. It
Yeah.
is so interesting to know that. Maybe it's that entrepreneur part of me that I want to know how they
Absolutely.
really did that.
Yeah.
Also, they're such humble people.
Yeah.
It's impossible to not like them.
Yeah.
And in general, okay, so BTS is what got me into K-pop, and after I entered K-pop, I explored different other K-pop groups, and then I got into K-hip hop and K-rock. So there's so much into Korean music which I really like.
Yeah.
The amazing choreography, like the choreography is outstanding. The way they actually have the okay, so the idea of an idol where you sing and dance, so it's an entire performance,
Right.
so that's a visual and audio treat as well.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, it's very interesting to watch. And yeah, and it makes you happy, don't you
Yeah.
agree? I
A
think
hundred percent.
it was a period in my life when I got introduced to BTS, and the best thing they could do is they made me happy instantly. They have such a vibe. Korean music, like K-pop music in general, has such a
Yeah.
vibe that they instantly
Yeah.
make you happy
Upbeat.
and forget
Yeah.
other things,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's amazing.
What would be your favorite
Do you
song?
want to share something about BTS as well? I mean,
Yes, I
two
think
BTS fans catching up.
yes, I think I just saw this the first music video I saw of this was Mic Drop, and I was just kind of
Oh yeah,
starstruck. I was just like, what did I just watch? You know? And I was like, God, this is beauty and stuff like that. And anytime I like something, I have to like go really, really deep into it to make it my
same.
religion. And once I started studying about BTS, it matched up with so many of my beliefs with what Gary does, and I also practice Buddhism, and like
Oh, okay.
I could just relate everything and put everything into place. And like you said, their journey is what I was inspired by the most. I saw that they were
Mm-hmm.
literally the people, they documented the entire journey, which I'm all about, like social media, and they understood the power
Yeah.
of social media before people knew what social media was. And you can really
Yeah.
see them starting from the bottom, talking about like, people think that we are hopeless, like I'm cold, I don't have enough food, I want to go back home, to what they are today. So anytime that you feel
Yeah.
like, you're not good enough, you need to understand that that also took them a decade. They started in like what, 2013
Yeah.
is when they debuted, but they were
2013.
training way
Yes.
before like 2009, 2010. Also, I really
Hmm.
like fell in love with literature, and I would study their lyrics, and I found out their meaning, and I was so fascinated by their label talking about music for comfort. That was very fascinating and
Yeah.
very
And
revolutionary to me.
healing. Oh God.
Healing,
Yes.
exactly,
That's
so it also reminded me of Amazon, like why Amazon blew up, because it was customer centric. I feel like
yeah.
BTS were the first proper artists that were listener centric. They weren't doing music for
Yeah.
selfish reasons, like, hey, I want to express myself, which is completely fine. But then they said that, how can I help you? How can I use my art? How can I use my craft? All this skill
Yeah.
I've honed
Oh,
to
we
give you
cannot
something.
forget mentioning the UNICEF campaign,
Oh
what they
yeah,
did.
yeah, for sure.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's interesting, when you talk about them. When we talk about them, we talk about it so proudly because it's been a while since I've been their fan, and just learning their story, and it's been interesting. And it makes me sad a little when people see it from a very surface level. That that person is a K-pop fan because they look like this or like
Right.
that. I would really love if people open up a bit and try to explore, at least explore for the reason that they broke such a huge market.
Yeah.
They're number one for a reason, even on the charts. So, just for that sake, probably just read a little about them and find out like what they've done, and maybe then make a judgment call rather than being so narrow-minded.
I know, but it's very interesting, like since you feel like that, you
Yeah.
can always help someone. Not that you
Yeah.
liking BTS or not liking BTS, that has nothing to do with us. But it's on you. Instead
Yeah.
of forming these preconceived notions, investigate
Mm-hmm.
something, note down all the facts, and then you can be the judge. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you are depriving your own self of a new world opening up before you, which you are, So
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
wrong on people to do that. Well, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that. I always love when I find people who love BTS. Like, we can always share, like, I'll share BTS memes with you and stuff like that now. So,
Yeah, sure. I mean, okay, I know a lot of people who have bonded over K-pop or anything related to K-pop, and that's so and it's genuine and it's legit what I've seen. So it's interesting, and yeah, that's good. Always good to know.
yes. What would you say is your, what was the first Korean TV show that you had watched?
The first, oh my God, it's been a while. Um, I think it has to be Descendants of the Sun. I think that has to be the
Oh.
one. Yeah. What about you?
Oh, the first one I watched actually was not a Korean TV show. It was a Mandarin show, which was called Meteor Garden.
Meteor Garden.
And
Okay, yeah.
I was head over heels. I was just like,
Yeah,
God, I'm
Meteor
gonna
Garden is
die
good.
alone
Yeah.
if I keep
Also,
my
I've watched
standards like
all
this.
sorts. I've watched Japanese. I'm not just
Yeah.
not just Korean shows. I've watched Taiwanese, Japanese, Chinese, Mandarin. Yeah, all these.
So cool. What would you say is your
Yeah.
favorite TV show?
Oh my God, don't get into that because I do not have. Oh, I don't
Okay,
have a
top three.
favorite, but okay. I mean, I really like the suspense ones. So I think the Flower of Evil was good. The Korean show. Oh, I just can't decide on this. This just came to my mind because I just suggested that show to someone recently,
Right.
and that's how it came to my mind.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I'm
I
sure like
don't
a
know.
Park
What
Seo
about you?
Joon Park Seo Joon show.
Park Seo-jin. Itaewon Class was good.
I loved Itaewon Class. It's my favorite show ever. Anyone who judges
Really?
like K-drama
It
that
is,
it's all
yes.
about like love
I
and
mean,
stuff, I make
that
them watch
also
it.
I watched. Yeah, I watched Itaewon Class when I was at that the growing journey of my entrepreneurship, and it
Yeah.
gives you a boost
Big
because
time.
it's all about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved it. And that was so like exactly like it would revive your entrepreneurial spirits. And
Yeah, it does.
I genuinely loved. I feel like this was maybe not just a culture in Korea, but even like Asia in general, is where old men rule the industry. Young people or women or people like that are looked
Yes.
down upon. Like they would try to buy you or they would like try to stump you. For him to compete with such a well-established company and build its own
Yeah.
and take it down, it was just like,
It's also
damn.
inspiring to watch,
I know.
fiction or real. I mean, anything that, ignites that inspiration in you, it's all good to watch.
Yeah. Okay, there's this question that we ask everyone on the podcast is, are you happy?
I'm blessed to have, a privileged and comfortable life right now. So it would be really unfair to say that, I'm not happy, but I still have a certain, benchmarks of happiness, I still don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. There are some things, where you want to be that level of carefree, or you want to be able to do something for someone else rather than just for yourself, which makes you happy.
Right.
So I'm still trying to achieve that. It's an ongoing process, and I'm happy to be a part of it. It's okay. I mean, if I was already had reached that point, I might not have something to look forward to. So if I'm still trying to achieve that level of happiness, it's always something to look forward to and work towards it. And yeah, as long as you have people who love you and are with you and, being along with you in this journey, it's all good.
Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing
thanks for
that.
asking though.
Not at all, of course. It's always interesting. Like you said, it could be difficult to connecting with people, and especially people
Yeah.
I'm speaking with. I've never spoken with them, so I really want to understand you as a person. And I feel like these real questions, irrespective of who you
Mm-hmm.
are, what language you speak, what time zone you're in, these questions are something so fundamental to every human being. Is like you're able to
Yeah.
transcend differences between each other and find that common ground and understanding. So it's like
Yeah.
good
I
to
mean,
build relation.
probably, yeah. No one's asked me this in a while. Like, probably no one has asked me in a very long time. It's not a common question anyone asks. So, yeah, it's really a thinker when you actually sit down and think when someone else asks you, like,
Yeah.
what state of mind are you in? Are you actually happy? Or, okay, maybe, are you content, or are you content with what you have right now?
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Mm.
When was the last time you'd say that you were? What makes you happy otherwise?
Okay, so if I'm talking about short term, okay, I like cooking. Okay, so I like trying new recipes and I like feeding people.
Yeah.
So when I see that content on their face, or when they're happy with what I've cooked, that makes me happy. Listening to really good music makes me happy. Or if I'm not in a place where I'm surrounded with people who are happy, or I know for a fact that they are in a place where they are happy, for some reason that makes me happy. I need to be surrounded with that kind of energy to feel
Hmm.
happy.
Right.
It's yeah, it's more right now. I'm in that more interdependent stage where I need to feel that energy around me to feel happy. So right now, it's all that like I'm living with my family right now, and if they're happy, if they're in a good mood, I am happy. It just boosts my productivity,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's how it is.
Thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I was just actually reading something about happiness the other day, and I feel
Yeah.
like maybe we all know it, but maybe sometimes we can tend to forget it. Is how important it is. Happiness is something we create. No one can give it to us. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, sometimes it can be a dependent thing. Like when you feel like your family is happy, you're happy. When your friends are happy,
Yeah.
you're happy. But what if there will come times, because that's just life, is when things are not working
Mm-hmm.
out? Does that mean that you would be at the mercy of your environment? Or does that mean that you are stronger than your environment and you can create and you can bring in that transformation? When you feel that
Mm-hmm.
empowered is when you get that real sense of happiness. Is not about the absence of obstacles, it's not the absence of
Yeah.
happiness, but it is about having the conviction and having the belief that irrespective of what happens, I'll be fine, or
Yeah.
irrespective of what happens, I'll be able to overcome it. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's really believing in your own potential. I feel like when we talk about believing in ourselves, we only talk about believing in ourselves in terms of like career and success. But what
Yeah.
about believing in yourself was like, I'll turn this situation around? What if you're like super unhealthy, ill? Do you believe in your own body? Like my body does have that
Mm-hmm.
regenerative power to fight and come back. Those beliefs are, I mean, it's just that awareness, that gives you that sense of
Mm-hmm.
like a hopeful tomorrow. And when you're hopeful,
Yeah.
I feel like that's when you have things to look forward to. And I mean, I just liked when it said like you create your own happiness. So many times
Yeah.
I would feel entitled to being happy. Like, what the hell, man? I have everything. Why am I not happy? But I realized it's
Yeah.
something that I
Yeah.
have to constantly work towards. It's a constant effort. And
It is.
धीरे 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 like build, make that foundation really strong, that over the course of your life and stuff, it really becomes immovable and
Yeah,
indestructible,
I
if that
think
makes
that's so
sense.
true. Yeah, I mean, it's so much about ourselves than
Yeah.
people around you. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So yes, on that, and I want to ask you, what would you say is your dream or ambition?
My dream or ambition. Okay, I don't have any one set dream or ambition. Again, I know for a fact that it's very personal. If I have put a dream or ambition like this, if I've set it up like this, it's very less likely that I'm actually going to go towards it. So I'm just trying to take it very slow and putting it into little chunks and very short term and trying to overcome it. Right. So as of now, on a broader aspect, if I see. I think it might sound very cheesy, but it's like the women, the space of entrepreneurship. There are not many women in this, especially the startup space.
Yeah.
And when I was just yesterday, I met another co-founder of a hardware startup. So there are not many women entrepreneurs in the hardware space. And she was just so happy to meet me, and we were just having a discussion over a coffee about our businesses and what we are doing. And she started the conversation with, I'm so happy to meet another woman co-founder who's into hardware. So it was a bittersweet moment, because it's a good thing. Okay, I'm happy that I'm into this space, but also it's a little bitter as well, because not many are doing this. So somewhere, maybe it can be a long shot, but somewhere I want to not break that stereotype, but I want people to actually try to see and explore the space as well, and not think that it cannot be done by a woman, and give it a try. People who are really good at hardware stuff, girls are, in my engineering college, I know a lot of girls who are technically more skilled than me, and who can really do this. It's just that little drive and motivation, that's what. And societal, you need to really break that societal barrier what is there, and go ahead and do what you want to do. So that's again not a goal or ambition, but it's just a wish of mine that I really wish that happens. um, Another goal, yeah, actually, no goal as such. I mean, I really want, right now at this point of time, I want to, take this company to such a point where, we're self-sustained, funded well, and I want it to. At one point of time, we need to turn into a company who can actually create value for our customers. And I do not want to be that kind of entrepreneur who looks at monetary profit, or just looking at the monetary factor.
Right.
There are many companies who do that, and they succeed in that as well. But I do not want to be in that space. I really want to look for, where you really create customer value. So even when we were forming our mission and vision, I really wanted to insist on the fact that we form good customer partnerships and long-term customer partnerships. So that's a goal of mine, actually, to form really good customer relationships with whoever I come across, via business or via personal, just personal relationships as well. So yeah, that's one.
I love that. Thank you. Like you said, you want to inspire women in the entrepreneurial section or even in the tech section.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people say that, but then there are very few people who go out and do it. So you become a role model, you are paving the way, you leave like a blueprint on how it's done. So you're already doing that by living your own life.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, even if, role model or whatever you call it, even if I'm talking to a friend, I know a friend who's good at it. If what I'm doing, or if I'm able to convince her, or if I'm able to tell her that, okay, she can really do this and she needs to explore the place, and she goes ahead and she does that, it's a big success for me as well. So that's a little difficult. I know it's not easily seen right now, but whoever is not just this space, whatever entrepreneurial space they're doing, like things what you are doing, it's not easy. It's not easy to, not work under someone and do something of your own, and go approach people on your own and build something out of it. It's not easy. So, yeah, that again, it's something commendable.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I feel like you talk really highly of me. I'm really trying to, like just, I don't know, make anything.
No, are you kidding? I mean, I really didn't go through your videos in deep, because I didn't want to have any bias or anything before starting the videos. I just wanted to go in fresh doing this podcast. But now that I've done this, I'll go and have a look at your other videos, and I'll see how it has been. But yeah, I was just looking at the portfolio, as such. Like, I know you've connected with a lot of international people. Even it is a step you've taken, right? So that's good.
I really appreciate that, and I mean, best and best of luck to you for your business. I really hope like it does not
Thank
just
you.
survive, but it starts thriving on its own. And this podcast will be here as documentation of before it became success. So I'll be really popular because of that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been really great sharing this with you as well. I mean, it's just literally sharing this with you. As I was telling you again, do not think that I'm just trying to, flatter you or anything, but it's just really inspiring for me as well. It's just a nice conversation.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying yes. It means a
Right.
lot. I want to ask, is there anything that you would like to ask me?
Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of things. Okay, let me think. I didn't think of it. Probably, yeah. Like just on the grounds of how you started this, like what drives you, to do this.
Right.
Although I do have an idea of what it does, but maybe you would want to share something or add more to it.
Yes. So I feel like, being, you're from India, you'd get it. School is
Yeah.
everything for you, right? Like, school is either you die or you do school.
Yeah.
So I actually had a really bad experience at school. I was really bullied by my teachers and stuff. And I think that was a time where I really lost like a lot of faith in the formal education system. And I
Mm-hmm.
also saw, like, not a friend, but an acquaintance of mine take his own life, when he was in class 11th or 12th, I believe,
Oh.
for not getting enough marks and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew deep in my heart that there's so much more to human potential, and you cannot judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. Just because someone
Mm-hmm.
does not do well academically does not mean that they're hopeless, does not mean, that they do not have anything of value to offer to the world. And that is when I
Mm-hmm.
decided very adamantly that I'm gonna, build my wealth and create my own path without the formal education. Which was
Oh, okay.
just crazy. And so at that time, because I felt like I have such a chip on my shoulder, I intensely and heavily started reading, started educating myself more than ever. I used to hate books, but just because I wanted to be better than everyone, I started picking up business books, written by people who've already built a successful business, whether it's Gary,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's actually credible people. And I remember I took up like accounting in class 11th and 12th, never understood anything, but I picked up this one book which is called Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's like
Oh,
a little
yeah.
book. It's for $300. I read it in a
Yes.
library in one day, and I
Oh,
understood more
really?
about accounting than I ever did before. And that book was a big deciding factor for me to know that formal education is not going to get me anywhere in life, because it's just not how I operate. And therefore, because I was
Mm-hmm.
listening so much to Gary, he told us that, people are your biggest ROI, and the future of social media and the
Yeah.
future of digital. And therefore, I decided to do a podcast. He said the biggest reason and the biggest advantage you get going to college is your network. And I started the podcast to start networking with people. I wanted to move to LA initially, so I started reaching out to people in LA, building
Mm-hmm.
relationships, understanding about the place, understanding about the markets and industry. But because the
Yeah.
pandemic happened, it did not really work out.
Oh, yeah.
But now, because of the pandemic, something great happened is a lot of people are hiring remotely. So I
Mm-hmm.
even got like a job offer from New York, and it's like a
Oh.
freelancing thing, and we're still in the testing phases. But that was only because it was Gary's network. I even got into Gary's company for the first round of interview. I did not clear it, but I got in
Oh,
the
but
first round
still,
as
I
a
mean,
creator.
congratulations.
Thank you, and that just opened my mind up to this podcast has been operating for now almost 2 years, but it is
Mm-hmm.
something that Gary had propelled us. All the job openings are now for a podcast host, for a video editor, for a creator, for a
Mm-hmm.
storyteller, for a social media stuff. And this is all I was educating myself on. And I've just been documenting my journey on YouTube and Instagram to show the youth how it's done. Maybe I've just become a failure after 7 years and have to actually go back to school, or maybe I
Mm-hmm.
succeed, but it'll all be something that is documented. So I feel like that was my, like, and like Gary says, people are the biggest ROI. So I know how
Yeah.
valuable it is to build these relationships with people, and you really don't know what leads to what. So I'm sorry that was
Mm-hmm.
long, but that was kind of the whole
No, no,
reason
I
behind this
mean,
podcast.
it's really good to know. And the idea of documenting it, yeah, it's really good. I mean, personally as well, and for others as well. Like personally, it gives such a boost, even though you might think that it's not really doing much to you, but I believe it actually is doing to every video you make or every podcast you make. After it, I'm sure you must be feeling a little more confident than before,
Yeah, definitely.
and you've made a new contact, you've made a new network,
Yeah.
a person, you've added a new person to your network as well, right? So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so that was my story.
Yeah, I really hope this you can really this blows up and you can really do something out of this. And what's your end goal out of this? What's your higher level ambition?
I think my I'll just divide that into two parts. Right now, my small goal is definitely to secure a job. That's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
exploring a lot of things. I really want to like I've been learning, I've been absorbing. Now I want to apply myself. I know for a
Right.
fact that I'm not an entrepreneur. I have entrepreneurial tendencies, but I'm not one. I do feel like I have a lot
Mm-hmm.
of leadership skills, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore I love working with people. I love having a mentor. I love being guided. So right now I just want to
Mm-hmm.
work for an incredible. I'm also 22, so I feel like my early 20s are a time for me to train myself to become really sharp, and I want to do that working under incredibly like smart and capable and nice human beings. So my short-term
Mm-hmm.
goal right now is to get employed, and I'm really working hard towards that. And my long-term goal definitely would be to leave that blueprint for the youth, and definitely,
Yeah.
not to sound too cheesy again, but I definitely did want to fight the education system here in India because it's taking away lives, it's taking away
Yeah.
hopes and dreams. And India is a place which has the largest youth population, and how everyone is
Yeah.
just shoved into, get a 90%, which means nothing in your life. You
True.
going and earning 30,000 bucks, which is a huge deal after graduation, is barely like, this is not what human potential is about, and this is not what we're about. We're much more smarter, much more capable, and I want
Yeah.
to build myself up so I can be credible enough to fight the system to be able to do that.
That's really interesting thing you told, because I wanted to add to that. I have, I don't know how I did not mention this, but again, in my goals and ambition as well, I think education has been such an important or integral part, educating people. So even when I was back in Melbourne, I spent most of my time doing my part-time job as a teacher, as a coding teacher or any kind of teacher, whatever, as a volunteer teacher or a part-time teacher. So it's always been there in me since I was a kid, also, being tutoring or anything. So I've had that aspect of teaching. And now, even, last month I had a conversation with someone who's into this ed tech space, and he has a very different approach towards education. Okay, so that was very interesting talking to him. And what I was so intrigued because he was talking about, right now he has a very small this one business, but he's planning to expand. And I just wanted to ask him, like, what are your values according, related to education for a child? And then the way he explained, like, how actually the whole, it's so core for a child to have the right values and the right things to be taught. And the education system right now is just not sufficient, or it's just not right in India especially. So I'm going to forward you, I don't remember the name of the book, but I'm just going to forward you the a couple of books which I found, which is so interesting. And it is specifically on Indian education system and what should be the right way. And it's so interesting, and I found it so interesting, and what the kids need to be taught from their childhood. So I'm trying to make it a personal mission of mine as well, that at least the early age, early age where the kids are, very prone to absorbing most of the things in their life, is when you actually feed them the right information. So what is that right information? He also had a chat with a psychologist, I think, who's studying child psychology behavior, I guess. And he's done really good research in that as well. So you really need to get deep down into this, when you're trying to understand what education system needs to entail when you're trying to improve a huge institution like this. So that's a pretty interesting thing what you've told. And I think we should have another brainstorming session just on this sector, because I would love to
Yeah.
chat with you based
Yeah.
on this.
I totally
There's so
like
much
I
we can do in this. Even if, okay, even if we are not able, if we don't have that impact or we cannot touch that much, we can always have a discussion based on this, and we can see what we can do from there, taking forward, right?
Yeah, I actually, on the contrary, I actually really believe that, it just takes that one person to actually bring about a transformation. It might not be me, but I definitely know that I can do something to spark that change, to build up that
Mm-hmm.
momentum so that maybe the next person can do it.
Yes, there have been many instances, yes, where that has happened. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, and actually, like I told you, I practice Buddhism a lot, and someone might
Yeah.
think it's just about like spirituality and stuff like that. But for me, it was a big training period for myself. You know, when I did not go to college, I was like, okay, where do I stand? What do I do? What am I gonna learn? And it spoke about education, and spoke about value creating education. You know, it spoke about emotional intelligence. It spoke about self discipline.
Yes.
It spoke about humanism. You know, developing your humanity, and how it's so important for us to not compete with each other, but like build each other,
Mm-hmm.
grow each other, be a good listener, understand people, be empathetic. And that has I feel like helped me evolve so much, and that's actually helped me do better podcasts. Like I'm able to transcend differences immediately. Like I don't get scared, I don't get
Mm-hmm.
afraid, and I'm genuinely concerned about people. I can relate with them, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore felt like a solid life philosophy is so important in people's lives. Like learning about world leaders, learning about
Yeah.
like histories of the world, learning about global citizenship. I think these are things that are important. This is what education is about, than memorizing rote information that
Oh
I can
yeah.
just ask Siri in a
Yes.
second. I'm not going to spend 4 years doing that. So, yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to be challenged. There's so much. I really hope you get to do that.
Thank you, really
And
appreciate it.
any way I can help you, I'll be glad.
Of course, likewise. I definitely hope that we can find some creative way to, like sometime collaborate
Yes.
on something in the future. I think that'll be
Yeah.
awesome. And I want to
Yeah.
ask you, like, how's Bangalore? How do you like the city?
Bangalore is a lovely city. I mean, okay, so you cannot find a single Bangalorean who would not rave about the weather. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Bangalore has probably the best weather in India, the best weather city, and it's amazing weather outside. It looks like it's going to rain. Okay, so that's about the weather. But
Yes.
yeah, as a city, pretty cosmopolitan. I've been here all my life, almost all my life, and I've met amazing people here. Since I was born in the northern region of India, and now that I'm living here, so it's more like a hybrid situation. So
Where
it's
in
there's a mix
North?
of culture, and it's been very interesting. Having people from north and south over here, especially during my engineering time. Engineering was one period where I had a lot of exposure to North Indian people as well,
Right.
and I think, yeah, Bangalore has that kind of vibe. You can find people getting really comfortable with each other here. It just gives that kind of pleasant atmosphere.
Yeah. Where were you in North
You should
India?
visit soon.
I want to so bad. Like it's one of like the biggest things I want to do is visit Bangalore and stuff. But I really want to, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I
you
want to get
should.
my job situation right so I can kind of be financially
Yeah,
independent and like travel and do all sorts of things. So yes.
yeah. I really hope you get to do that. I genuinely hope you get to do that.
Thank you. I'll let you know when I come for sure.
Yes, oh, for sure.
I
We'll have
want
a
to know
lot to bond over.
where are you from in the north, you said?
Oh, I'm from Gujarat.
Ah, I see. I'm from Lucknow.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. So I have a very close friend of mine. She's from Kanpur. So I think
Nice.
that's the closest I
Yes.
have a relation to that place. But oh, that's great. So have you been in Lucknow all your life?
Yes. Born and bred.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my God. I've always wanted to visit Lucknow. I haven't. Again, the closest I might have come is just Agra. I think I visited Agra, and I did have plans for Lucknow, but then that did not happen. But sure, again,
You
that's a
must
done deal
come.
as well. So I should try to visit Lucknow
Not to be
soon.
biased, but Lucknow has the best food in the world. Okay, it has like the
Oh
best
yes, yes.
biryani and
Okay. I
stuff.
mean, yeah, of course. I've heard a lot. I should visit.
Yeah. So on that, and I want to ask on the last note, is there anything that you would like to talk about? Any topic that means a lot to you, or we can jump into your advice for young people?
Teacher part and like education part, that was something really dear to my heart. It's always been, and I'm always glad to connect with people who feel about educating children very closely, like
Right.
they really genuinely want to change the education system in such a way that it does not just become a manufacturing industry and becomes more of a creative space, not just
Yeah.
enhancing individuals. It might sound
Absolutely.
very philosophical, but it's
No,
it's
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 absolutely
needed.
correct. Yeah.
We've been through it, we've all been through it.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's one thing I just wanted to add. Yeah, nothing else.
And would you say you have any advice for young people?
Um, okay. I mean, advice as such, probably that's what I'm just going to draw from my own learnings, whatever I've had all these years. I think it's so important to think and act at this age when you're, just so spontaneous and we are just, you just tell whatever you want, regardless of age or when you're talking to someone or, seniority, age or anything, any factor. It's so important to actually think you can ruin or make a relationship, be it in the professional space or a personal space as well.
Yeah.
So really think before you act. And again, oh, one more thing. It would be again, it's more about a professional. This one on a professional front. Have a mentor, like be in touch with a mentor at this age, like especially all the youth right now. Have an adult mentor, a good adult mentor who can really guide you, maybe in the personal space as well and in your professional life as well. India has such a big population. You can easily get two mentors as well. Also, 2:1 ratio is also possible. But I truly believe, especially even if you're going on a entrepreneurial journey, or even if you just want to, go looking for a job, or you want to secure a good job, or you want to get into this any particular field. If you want to get into PhD or anything, it's always good to have someone who is an expert. You think is an expert in that and who can help you out, and always be in touch with that person. And that is one way to actually build good relationships. It's more like a practice space where it's when you go move forward in your life and you talk to other people. It's so important to you see your parents' generation, see your grandparents' generation. They've always created such good relationships with people. I
Right.
think right now, other than our friend circle, having a good mentor would be really important, and yeah, I think this is probably the last one would be humble. I would like to tell. I've seen a lot of people around me. I do meet a lot of people, right? So I know that being entitled or having that kind of attitude is such a put off. You do not want to have that, at least when you are young and when you want to achieve something or you haven't achieved that much yet. You need to be humble to have a healthy relationship with people around you.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, this is what I've learned, I've learned from observing people around me, and I've learned from things which I really didn't like in other people. So this is what I've pretty much gathered, during this time.
Thanks for sharing that. That was really valuable, and I'm definitely have a lot to take back from it. On the last one, I want to ask you: would you have any feedback for the podcast? Any way that we could have done better?
Um, I think it's great. Yeah, I mean, probably as at the end of complimenting, because I know for a fact that you started it right off. You just started hit record, and we started the conversation immediately. So which is just very raw, and it's good. You don't have to actually have your 1, 2, 3 mic test before and prepare yourself for a stage. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
Just get into it and very organically form a relationship,
Right.
which is good. I think just go with this. No such feedback right now. Maybe if I can think of anything, I'll probably drop a text.
Awesome. Thank you, Pooja, so much. This was such a pleasure to get to know
It
you.
was.
And
Thanks for having me.
of course, and I really hope like when I visit Bangalore, I'll definitely let you know. And
Yes,
anytime you need
definitely.
anything, please feel free to reach out to me.
Yes, yes, sure.
All right.
Same here.
All right. Thank you, Pooja. Have a
Okay
nice
then.
rest of the day.
Thank you. Hope you have a
Bye.
good day.